It's about 2:30 in the afternoon on the 30th of March 2021, and it is a glorious day. T-shirt weather, absolutely beautiful. I'm like a crack record in that every year I repeat these lines that the year is just long enough for us to forget how beautiful the weather can be in the United Kingdom, and this is still only very early spring. But yeah, winter is a real drag, but the payoff when you get days like this after a horrible winter, nothing like it. All of the magic in my adult life that has come my way has been bestowed upon me during the month of March. That's been the kind of moment of conception, inception, all of it. Admittedly, it's a bit of a sort of window between about sort of February and May, but yeah, once we get February out the way of a year, I just find myself feeling very much lighter and more optimistic. This last 10 years has been a real slow burn with regards to the good times that I've had, but it started obviously, well not obviously, but in 2010, in March of that year, I got together with the mother of my child, and we had a couple of years that were just fantastic, all born of the month of March. And as I get older, I don't find myself mourning times being the kind of retrospective soul that I am. I find myself realizing I'm in a moment. I mean, look at where I am now. Look at the day. Look at my age. There's even if it's just a matter of minutes or hours, there's a future, and it's beautiful. You know, I'm aware of where I am in the moment. I'm not just quite the sort of miserable, curmudgeonly soul that I may come across. And you know, one of the great ironies is, at any time in my life I worked very badly on my own. Always craved, you know, it's been quite romantic, I guess, but always craved the company of a woman to walk through life with. It's not to say that I was ever much of a catch, or indeed deserved what comes with the heart of a good woman in your possession at any given time. But I don't crave relationships anymore, not in any way, shape or form. Admittedly, there was a girl playing tennis yesterday in tight grey lycra leggings, and I realised that my hormones still race through my body. But even that, you know, as you get older, your testosterone stops flowing to any great degree, and I'm finding myself so much more content with where I am in the moment and realising where I am in the moment, as opposed to having to look back 5 to 10 years and sort of putting the glory brush all over a certain time that of course had its ups and downs. Very much more aware of the good times as they're happening now. In fact, 2 years ago was the last time magic really visited my life, but it was in a different way. Sure, it was in the form of a human being who, my time in her company was all too brief. It was 6 months, and she sadly lost her battle with depression and is no longer here. But after some truly lonely, dark times in my life, she came along. And she was one of those people who was constantly weaving webs and creating new paths through. Even in the best of times in my life, I'm a hopeless instigator, and I work very well with partners in crime who know and have the confidence to arrange, to walk, to take you on the same journeys you've been on a million times and view it from a different perspective, metaphorically putting you on a skateboard and doing a handstand in a pedestrian part of your life. That they've got the capability to make you see that our point of view can be altered by the magic that another person can sprinkle over your life in the blink of an eye. But it has to be the right person. You know, that's one thing that life teaches you very early on, I think, is that, you know, we've all had that person, that teacher, that pupil at school who, you know, we'd spend time with them. We'd never stop talking, and a person would, you know, they'd be absent and there'd be another person in their place, and you had no ability to communicate beyond hello, how are you with them. You know, magic is, it's not a rare commodity in its everyday form, but you know, those people who can really take you at your most insecure, your most vulnerable, and you're most unlikely to want to get out and do things. Those people who can say, you know, albeit all metaphorically, here, take my hand, come with me, this is where we're going today. And you end up doing things that say that you'd never have dreamed of doing, or seeing things from a different perspective. Has to be the right person. Can't just be any old Tom, Dick or Harry. And 2 years ago, when I was, you know, at a time in my life where all I expected was to come back here to this area and find somewhere to live, and I did that. And the added massive bonus of somebody who I loved so much, who created so many wild rides and so many waves that I could ride the crest of, and share experiences with them that I didn't realise were so impactful, and the experiences that they gave to me and my daughter that person probably didn't realise how impactful they were. You know, we go through life totally blissfully unaware of the waves that we're creating, and I try, and even back then, thank God, I did try to always say I love you, and that was a great experience. You know, I tried to do it in the moment. I don't find it easy, but it's important to do so, because you know, all of this beauty, all of the things and the circuits that put together the motherboard of your life in this moment can change for the better with the lightning strikes of positivity that come our way in life, and of course the lightning strikes of tragedy. You know, all of those circuits that hold your life together in the way it is right here, right now, can change just with one of those freak lightning strikes. It'd be really easy at this point in my life to think that there's just been an oversaturation of darkness and people who just don't give a flying monkeys about their impact upon other people. But it just isn't true. It's all a stitch in the tapestry of life. You know, once I'm out and sorted and living in a flat on my own, just with me and my daughter, I'll be able to reassess, and I can already tell with things that have moved on from a very dark time in my life very slightly, that there are things that I'm going to feel angry and vengeful about, I know, because they're so enormous in their scope. But a majority of things that have already moved away and move on, I don't give a second thought to, that were affecting my life so badly, you know, 6 months ago. A lot of how we think we're going to feel long term because of the effects of situations that come our way in life. I think that we convince ourselves whilst going through it that it's going to be forever. You know, those feelings of a want for justice and everything that comes with it. It drags you down in the moment, but the moment you step away from the situation that's screwing you so hard, you realise it just isn't worth it. You know, I know this is something that isn't necessarily everybody's story, but I'm quite surprised with the ways in which I've obviously changed over the years, that only through bitter experience you can discover just how much. And with regards to how I'm definitely in the sort of space of having a tendency to just think, I don't live there anymore, don't have to deal with that person, I don't work there anymore, don't care. Quite surprised, because whilst going through it, you know, I freely admit, and I'm not alone in this, I'm quite a vengeful thinking person. You know, I've used passive aggression to communicate my dislike of other people's behaviour around me my entire lifetime. You have, I have, everybody has. And you know, understanding concepts like gaslighting and passive aggression, it's everywhere, it's rife. And you know, I think that it shows a sort of certain amount of growth. I need to tell myself this stuff. This isn't about me patting myself on the back, but I need to remind myself that I'm not the person I used to be. In very, very large respects, I still am. But in others, it's amazing how something that so many people, you know, the self-help guru culture will say, you can will this into existence, you can imagine yourself a different person. No, you've got to go through a certain amount of the wash cycle of life to have the stains bleached out of you. And you know, there's too many people out there telling you that you can do things that take a long wash cycle to get you clean just by buying their book or following their mantra. It's absolute nonsense. I guess that the magic in life seemingly does tail away and disappear to a large extent, but the thing is, it's all still there right to the end. It's just that as you see with people talking online about movies or games that they really enjoyed, you know, people will say, I wish I could wipe my memory of having played this game or seen this movie because it was so profound and moving. And life is like that. You know, you can't pretend to be surprised or shocked by certain events that do keep going and do keep repeating in life, and are equally as ugly and beautiful in equal measure. It's just that a shock is only a shock and a surprise is only a surprise when it's initially administered. When the same event has happened, you know, we become hardened to it. We become less and less surprised or shocked. You know, it just doesn't work that way, does it? And I think that beauty evolves, but we don't necessarily follow that evolution, and we expect the same buzzes from the same metaphorical drug administered in the same proportions and at the same milligram level, and it's just not going to happen. You know, you're never going to repeat that initial buzz.